the Zoom call, sorry. Okay, so let's start the meeting here at, I got 7 o'clock, 7:03. We'll start the meeting. First up, this is a meeting of the Town of Rutland Town Charter Committee for Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. Opening the meeting at 7:03. First up on the agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes from December 18th and January 7th, 2026. Do I have a motion to accept these minutes as prepared?
Motion to accept.
Motion to accept, do I have a second? Seconded by Sandra. Any comments, questions on discussion on these meeting minutes? Hearing and seeing none, nobody online. Let's take a vote on accepting, we can do both of these at the same time, correct, I believe?
I think so.
Yeah, so to accept both minutes, December 18th, 25, January 7th, 26. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Hearing none, any nays? Hearing none?
Yeah, I'd just like to abstain because I think I was in and out of both of those meetings.
That's true.
Okay, we have an abstain, okay, but no nays, motion passed, those minutes are approved. Great, thank you all. New business, first up, review correspondence. We have 2 correspondences to go through. Number one's the quicker one, so we'll start with that, get things going here. It was the memorandum I just sent out today. Tamika got it back a little earlier today from the planning board regarding the 3 and 5 year term. We sent the memo to them last week. Worked out well. They had a meeting last night, discussed it, got us this memo today, just in time for eyes. I don't know if any of you had time to see it, but basically, overall,
It doesn't really say anything.
no, it does, and
Yeah.
I think overall they support the 5 year term, but agree that valid arguments could be made for the 3. I mean, I'm reading their thing. The
Yeah,
overall
yeah.
consensus of the board was that they support 5 year terms, but agree that valid arguments could be made for the 3 year terms as well. The board appreciates us, asking them, so, I think they're pretty easygoing as far as it goes, but I think if they had to pick and choose, they're saying 5 years, right?
Yeah,
That's what I got from it.
Was that the consensus, yeah? That's what that
just
reads,
in the moment, I think I was probably the only one who said, I'm okay with 3-2, as a model, and, they knew it would ultimately lie in you guys' hands, so, they're okay with whatever you guys decide as well. I think the only funny thing is if we don't have a town planner, which at the moment we don't, if you get in a big row where we don't really have a town planner and everything's kind of on Tamika, if you had, for example, 3 year, still a long time, you have faster turnover, you might not have as many people coming on with the reload time, that's about it with the 3 years, just like, you kind of.
The current group that you got now, how long have those folks been on it? They've been on it
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
Some, quite a long
You know,
time, there's been
yeah.
some other turnover.
So,
Of the
cause that was
members.
what they said, like, well, there's nothing preventing you from continuing.
of course, to
continuing, you know,
rerun
so.
every 3 as well.
Cause that's what I was thinking, with the
I-
5 now, there's
I
3 of
still-
them that have been on it forever,
I still
so.
think it should be 3 and
Yeah.
roll with every other board. in town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think for continuity, and I don't think people,
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't read as there was a lot of pushback to having 3.
Right, there's no love
And-
lost, yeah.
And,
It's true.
I just think that, I don't know, that was like one of the only things that I took from that first public hearing or a question somebody had asked, like, why is this 5 year and everything else is 3?
And we've had friends that are, like, oh, you interested, and it's like, it's 5 years.
5 years,
It's a long
yeah, I
time,
think that, like,
You know?
Yeah, if you
I
do
like
the whole
Ryan,
fund.
like,
Yeah.
it makes it match everything else we're doing.
Yeah. I know, I got confused, and I'm like, oh, the, Board of Assessors, I'm like, I thought we said this, and then going on, I'm like, oh, it's the planning board, that's fine, okay, so.
Excuse me one moment. Can everyone online hear us conversing, okay? We're loud enough here? Okay, thank you. Just wanna make sure you can hear us.
So, do we vote on this?
Do you guys wanna? Just
Yeah, probably
You got,
official.
Like, that would be to make it official for the charter,
yeah,
to
Leah,
be stated, yeah.
I mean, Leah, do you wanna we'll just have a vote on 3, so I'll just say, who's in favor of 3 year terms, just raise your hand.
I was gonna say, if you want a motion, I can make a motion that the committee put in the charter, planning board is 3 year terms instead of 5.
Second?
Okay, we have a second from Michelle. Any discussion, any more discussion on this? Okay, so all in favor of a 3-year term? Aye?
I,
Aye. Okay, any nays? Or any abstain?
Uh,
It's all right.
I'll go with an A, but I agree with both, so it really doesn't matter. in the
Me too, I'm
end, but-
indifferent
Yeah.
person.
But,
It's fine.
nays,
Yeah.
fine,
It's fine.
yeah.
Okay, so we have 1 nay, we have 6 yes. The 3-year is approved.
Carries, yeah.
Carries. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, everybody. So we'll put Anthony, if we can change the language, I think that's in one of your comments in this revised draft, well, probably one of the first ones we'll get to now,
Section
Ah.
4-5.
going through this, going through forward. Next up on correspondence, before we just jump into the charter. Received an email from the new town administrator, Heather Butler. Didn't know we had one. That's good. We got one. In regards to a new bylaw coming in regarding the finance committee, I believe it's someone or the finance committee, I'm not sure who's creating this. But I would assume it's somebody associated with the finance committee, who knows a lot about it. And Heather did a review of the bylaw. I'm not sure if any of you have taken the time to read through it. She has some interesting comments about some of this being not legal, not being appropriate to mass laws, and I'm not really, honestly, I had a hard time understanding some of this.
The way I understood it was, FinCom wants to create the budget.
Yeah.
And that, basically, Heather's email goes through that line by line and outlines all the master laws that actually violates, is what I got out of it.
I didn't get that out of it, but I didn't get anything out of it, to be quite honest with you.
I got the,
So,
I got the
But
same.
I thought it was they were gonna, like, spend money, but go
No.
ahead.
So I got the same as Ryan, and, she basically, I sort of compared the two, the current bylaw, first of all, I don't think it's our problem. I just wanna say that, it's not really,
The only thing I think that we would get involved in is language in the charter that stops bylaws from being submitted.
Heather also asked me to send this to Attorney Wilson,
Yeah.
okay, and
Exactly.
Becker.
Okay.
I've done that. I spoke with Anthony, she wanted his opinion on this as the, our leader, so to speak, legal leader of this charter, committee that we're making. I sent that to him with all of you, and spoke with him the other day. We did a quick private call. He was gonna come up with some things, so, do you want me just to turn it over to Anthony right now and see where him and Becker are coming from on this, and just have them give a legal review of this? Certainly the most qualified legal people in this room, I would say. And we can just go from there, see where it goes from there.
because,
Sounds good.
yes,
Yeah.
because
Right.
we actually took out most of the finance committee bylaw stuff. So, in this last draft, we took out a big chunk of it. We only left in,
We simplified, I don't know if we took a big chunk out, but,
no, we took a big chunk out.
do we?
We did, let me see. We took out,
Well, let's let Anthony get going here, regardless of what that is.
Yeah.
Let's stay on this point here. And Anthony, if you're prepared, why don't you, take over on this matter, please?
Sure, but, I'm trying to think where to start. So let me just start with the first comment about things being in and out of the charter. So we, just a framing, just for everybody to remember. The, finance committee section of the charter and the financial procedure section of the charter, were
Split.
pulled from your bylaws in large extent, and then we excised certain portions that weren't appropriate for the charter. That doesn't mean that those are no longer valid, it just means that there's whatever stays in the stays in the bylaw, and whatever stays in the charter stays in the charter. So it doesn't, I would say it shouldn't be thought of as like things going away, but just that there are things that are appropriate for the charter and things that are not appropriate for the charter.
Correct.
So I'm just sort of level setting here.
Yep,
So
thank you.
now, in terms of the issues raised by the memo, and Becca, feel free to jump in here if I start using the wrong words in the wrong places. I'm gonna, for the, well, I guess let me start here. There are a couple things that, we're advisors on the charter, we're not specifically here as legal counsel, but I can sort of give you, what I think is most like. There are two things in the memo that I think the committee should kind of be aware of. So one was certain elements of state law that aren't in the charter, and whether or not they should be in. So number one, if there's something covered by state law and it's not specifically addressed in the charter, that doesn't mean that the charter overrides it. If this charter is silent or it doesn't speak to it, that would mean that state law controls. If there's something in the charter that is directly different than state law, then again, if the legislature passes your charter, then your charter would control it. So to the extent that there's anything not addressed in the charter, it would be addressed by state law, or assuming that, the town had the power to do it, you could address it by bylaws. So that's one way to think of it. And then the other piece, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but there are a couple things. There was a revolving fund and a reserve fund. I'm gonna just talk about the revolving fund if correct me if I'm wrong here, Becca. But the revolving fund, we did some research in it, and it was changed under the Municipal Modernization Act a few years ago, which does allow, or say allow, like, it used to be, so the question was on expenditures beyond what was allocated at town meeting for those revolving funds. And the proposed bylaw says that those allowing that would be by the select board and the finance committee. So that's in state law. So that language is actually in state law for the finance committee and the select board to make that decision. So we don't necessarily think so if you don't put anything in the charter, then state law controls, and that is what would happen, right? That would be required, whether anyone enacted a bylaw or not. That's the state law. If you wanted to change that, you could put some language in the charter that says, if we want to expend over the limit of our revolving funds, then we only want it to be done by town meeting or by some other process, and then hope that gets approved by the legislature when you send this up as a special act. We wouldn't recommend putting that language in because we think that gets a little bit too much in the nitty gritty. So that's sort of where we stand on that. And then a lot of what was in the memo, we kind of, our kind of position is that a lot of that is, it's better handled as a bylaw. And that can be a little sticky because people don't want to have those conversations at town meetings sometimes. But we don't think that the way we do the analysis is we don't think that this is a charter level for a lot of
This
that
should-
stuff.
so
But you
this-
can, again,
This should be
if
left,
you want to sort of say we would like to cover these things in the charter, we think we're probably getting too much into the weeds, but that's sort of the committee's decision. Becca, I did talk about the revolving fund. I think that the memo said that, it's fine, whatever. But Becca, if there's anything that we talked about that I didn't cover, just chime in here and straighten me out.
No, I think you covered everything. You talked about the revolving fund. I think what Anthony is saying, to be clear about the revolving fund piece, is that the language in the memo is not necessarily accurate. The language that is being proposed by the finance committee as part of their bylaw change is in alignment with state law. So there are no concerns there. In terms of like the legal applicability and, whether or not the finance committee can do what they're proposing under the revolving fund statute in their bylaw. The reserve fund issue is a little bit different because right now, there is no language in the charter about the reserve fund, which means that state law prevails, which is what Anthony is saying.
Yep.
The memo from the town administrator I read it as she is almost making a request that the charter committee consider adding language to the charter about reserve fund transfers. I think Anthony and I's position is it's really not necessary unless you want it to be different than it is under state law. And under state law, a reserve fund is controlled by the finance committee. So, that's, unless there is a strong reason or argument to change that, which is not communicated in the memo, that we wouldn't recommend it, I don't think.
That's what I was getting, is that we should
Yeah.
leave it blank and let state law prevail.
Yeah, I mean, I went through it and like most of what was in the town administrator's memo and the bylaw change isn't our problem, has nothing to do with us, has absolutely nothing to do with us. Like the revolving fund thing, not our problem. It's not for the charter, like they just said. The budget
It's for the
submission,
bylaw committee to review and decide
Exactly.
if they want to
the
take it.
budget
And
submission.
it hasn't even started yet, right? So they
Right.
literally just did this,
Yeah.
and it hasn't even started yet, so.
Right, they haven't, the budget, number 3, budget submission, the draft charter town administrative construction submits the budget. We wanted that specifically, so we don't, that's what's in the charter, we don't wanna, this number 3 is really the big issue. Finance wants to control the budget, so they wanna submit the budget, and the charter, which we all discussed, said that the town administrator, and with Anthony Becker's
Yeah.
feedback, that it's the way it should be, the town administrator should be submitting the budget.
And FinCom access the check and balance.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's really the only one, this one, that's section 3, and we already have it in the charter the way that we wanted it in the charter. And number 5, the same thing. The draft charter places capital plan under the town administrator, that's also what we wanted, what we talked about 2 meetings ago, or whatever. That's ours. Number 3 and number 5, the rest of their changes that they're asking for, it's not our problem. In my opinion, just being very blunt about that. I don't wanna get I don't want us getting hung up on whatever's going on with finance in the town. It's not,
It's not within our scope.
it's not our issue, it's not our,
I agree completely, especially considering for the last year, we've been talking about how our charter is
Yeah.
not supposed to get into the nitty gritty like that, it's supposed to just be.
right.
Mhm.
So you see what I'm saying, like, their bylaw, they
I'm not sure I totally agree with what you said, because we're building a charter for the town. And
right,
it's because of these conflicts, we're building this charter.
right.
And although I agree with you that we're not getting into the weeds, Michelle, the base structure may trim the grass a little.
And
Okay,
and that's
So
what
we
we've
are
done,
gonna,
and we've
But the
kind
only
of,
thing to say would be in accordance with
yeah,
Mass
we've,
General
Yeah.
law.
we've done the
So-
2 things that we can affect.
we're gonna have to
change.
deal with this, like this,
Yeah, but
we
we've
can't
already
just say
done
this
it.
is not our
Well, the
Yeah.
only thing.
thing, because they're gonna,
No, but we've already done it. We've already put those 2 parts in, number 5 and number 3, we've already put in the draft, the way that we decided that they should be. The rest of the stuff, we have no control over. If they can't do something according to with mass law, we can't, that's on them, that's not, I mean.
so number 1, finance committee powers exceed what state law allows, is that correct?
Not according to what,
Not according to Becker and Anthony. But the TA, I mean, the new TA thinks it does.
I think she should have come here instead of.
well, maybe we should table this.
I asked her, I did
Yeah.
invite her, Sandra, just for,
Yeah,
thank you for mentioning
because
that,
this is
just
hard
be,
to,
just
it's
be,
like, what was your
just be upfront
thought
with everybody.
process?
I did invite Heather to come to the meeting and help discuss this.
Yeah,
She had another, engagement, she couldn't.
okay.
So,
Mhm.
conflict, the finance bylaw changes assigns the finance committee operations and executive functions, including participating directly in budget development, controlling authorized revolving fund limit increases, participating in capital planning as an approving body. State law, however, defines the finance committee as strictly advisory in nature. This overreach contradicts the statute structure described. So I'm not sure it's actually illegal or, I mean,
Is
it does say they can create a budget, I mean,
Right?
our bylaw
That's
says
what
it can do
doesn't
that,
make
so some of this does not make sense, I
Yeah.
agree with Anthony and Becca there. Certainly their opinion.
What's the comments, are there new comments on that on the screen?
Yeah.
I don't think so, I think this is all just from before.
So Anthony and Becca, are you saying that that the relevant law that they're citing is no longer accurate?
On number 2, is that what
On
you're talking
number
about?
1 and number 2, number 1.
So there's two issues in the, and Becca, feel free to chime in, but there's two, well, actually, I guess there's a couple things sort of, so, there's the way things are currently done, and then there's this proposal from the finance committee to amend the bylaws, right? So, you currently don't have a charter, the town is run now, and has run for a long time, just using bylaws. So, when I read the changes that she's referencing, or that are referenced in the memo, they read to me like aligning with the state law, because under state law, the finance committee is part of the approval process for revolving funds that are over, right, when there's an expenditure over. And Becca, tell me if I'm wrong, that's the same thing for the reserve funds, right? They're matching the same thing as state law for we written reserve funds. Is that correct, or am I?
Yes, except the revolving fund statute, which is what we're talking about in bullet number 2. I mean, we're jumping around a lot. I wonder if we should just
Yes.
go through this memo.
Sure, let's do
Yeah,
that.
that's a good idea.
Let's just do number 1.
Yeah.
Let's just do number 1, I agree,
Let's just talk about number 1, because we're jumping around a lot. So, the number 1, the comments on number 1, the participation directly in budget development, this is what the finance committee wants their bylaw to reflect. They want to have direct participation in budget development. There is not a general law that doesn't allow that. The charter that you all have drafted does not allow that. You all have made the decision that instead of having a finance committee be a participating body in developing the budget, they are going to become advisory to town meeting, and instead, the town administrator, working with department heads and the select board, are going to develop the budget. They will get input from other committees, but ultimately, it will be that budget that goes to town meeting, and finance committee will have, remember we talked about the first right of refusal? They will get to stand up and make a report. They are town meeting's representative for the budget process, so.
Which is exactly what we
It
outlined in
doesn't,
1.
it's not an issue with general law, it's an issue with the charter. So, the finance committee bylaw they're proposing will be in conflict with the charter that you've drafted.
And the charter
And
will
if the charter passes, the charter will prevail,
prevail
and the
over the
bylaw
bylaw.
will matter.
And that's, and we
Exactly.
wanted
The
it,
chart, even if they pass the bylaw,
To
the
clear
charter
up the
will
mud.
trump that, if the charter passes state law.
Right.
So they
Gotcha.
really
That's
should
the
stop
point of
doing
the
this
charter,
if the
yeah,
charter
to clear up the mud.
It's Leah, can I just, and I think as we were talking about this, if moving forward, if kind of FinCom gets their, and I'm gonna say gets their way with these proposed changes, then that takes control of the town administrator kind of being that chief financial officer and having that responsibility now out of the administrator's hands and
Over to FinCom, which is
that's
exactly what we
we're
don't
trying
want.
to avoid, is now that we have a town administrator, we have an approved bylaw with a town administrator and the FinCom, the previous iteration of the FinCom bylaw that we worked on for the charter, both of those were approved at town meeting. The FinCom bylaw was contentious with FinCom only because until we had a town administrator, they were the ones that were developing the budget, they were the ones that were submitting the budget, presenting the budget, and I think this committee as a whole felt that there was no checks and balances in that process. We have a town administrator position now, and to empower that position to be the chief financial officer with the executive branch, and then have input from the legislative branch, which would be the FinCom.
Yep, okay, thank you, Leah. Alright, so,
I just wanted to point out on the first page of the memo, first of all, this went to everyone in the town, not just us. It says that the review finds the draft charter aligns with mass law, but the finance bylaw change.
You on one still?
No, I'm
No,
on
she
the,
went back to.
I
Alright,
went
let's
back to
just-
the first page, just to point out,
But are you talking about one?
I'm talking about the whole memo in general.
Okay.
It's saying that the charter aligns with the law, but the finance bylaw change introduces provisions that conflict with state statutes, which is not our problem. What the finance bylaw wants to do, we're not the bylaw committee. That's not our problem. The charter aligns with the law. And with Anthony Becker, what I'm saying is, we've beaten that horse. And we've made the charter align with the appropriate, how it's, how
Well, our
state law
proposed
is.
charter is that
Yes.
way, it's not a
Yeah.
charter yet,
Yeah.
everybody.
Right.
So let's
Our
keep that in
draft,
mind.
our
It
draft.
still has to be voted on,
Correct.
okay?
Correct.
So I wanna respond to this memo as requested, just that, hey, our stance is that, you know, they're not participating in the, we're not changing our charter, they're advisory only, so.
Right.
The only other thing I could think of to put in the charter is some sort of language about how bylaws are submitted in general, but even that I think is,
I think it's in there
Yeah.
somewhere. I think it's in here.
I guess my
But we
only,
didn't
We have a bylaw committee, that's all pretty much states.
my only concern of this, it seems like we're kind of in the middle of this.
Yeah, I don't
finance
like.
committee.
Alright, so time out, let's,
Yeah,
let's,
that's what
we-
I
we've
don't
been in
like.
the middle the whole time,
No.
Yeah.
since last March, and this war's been, this border war's been going
No, no,
on
no.
forever,
I,
right?
but I
But
guess
we're not
my
lawyers.
concern is that, I mean, the finance committee, they're obviously voting on this charter, they're residents of the town, we want them to be supportive of the charter, I just kind of, like, I don't wanna say, hey, it's not our problem, because I think it becomes our problem in
Well,
a sense.
that's what I'm saying, it's our
Yeah.
problem,
It is our
because these
problem.
people obviously don't want this in the charter,
Right,
because they wanna do it
exactly.
this way.
Right,
So we're gonna have to,
right,
you know, so if we believe it should be this way, not that way,
yeah,
we're gonna have to stand up and defend this.
no, agree,
Come the day, we gotta put it out to the people.
I think
So,
that that's.
it's a problem.
If we have another
Yeah,
open
making us
engagement,
sound
we
bad.
have to be.
But I don't wanna get the problem, like, I don't want this problem to wreck tonight or
No,
anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
I just wanna keep moving,
But I
like
agree.
we're still
I
fine with,
agree, we stick with our guns,
I think
but
so
we have
too.
to come,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
so let's just try to run through these things, I don't wanna waste a lot of time on this tonight.
Okay.
So participating directly in budget development, negative, right? Advisory only. Jointly authorizing revolving fund increases. What say you? Becca, what's your opinion, on the jointly revolving fund limit increases? Is this something we should not even be involved with?
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Correct.
I don't think,
Some of these things
there's
is
no
like, huh?
language in.
Not purview, right? Yep, perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's no language in it, but, well, yeah, we can leave it at that. I don't, there is no issue with the finance committee bylaw, but that's, like Michelle, it's not for the charter committee to be concerned about what the
Yeah,
finance
yeah.
committee is.
So not purview, you know,
Yeah.
let them do what they want. Participating in capital planning as an approving body. I don't think that's the way we have our charter.
Nope.
Again, they're an advisory, I take that as, you know, a capital planning as an approving body, that would be approving the expenditure of a capital project, the way I read this. And they would be you know, that approval body, you know, that governing, that, hey, how does this look, is this something we should do? They're the check and balance, again, advisory only.
Yeah, where
Right.
is she, what is her conflict, where did she get that?
I don't wanna get caught up in the laws, cause I gotta be honest with you, this thing's gonna go to the state.
Yeah.
Both of these things are gonna go to state, I don't care if it's in law or not, like, it's irrelevant to me personally, and I think we're gonna bog ourselves down looking at laws and all this stuff, we're not lawyers.
Well,
I don't care.
this is wrong though, her conflict, draft charter, town
And I'm not here to critique
administrator
her,
constructs and submits the budget, finance committee provides recommendations. Did we say that she constructs,
Yeah.
they
said the
construct the
TA.
budget
No, the
with,
TA constructs
Constructs
the
the
budget.
budget.
TA constructs the budget with
That's
the
the
first
capital
one.
plan.
Yeah.
They assist the budget,
and
their
submits
budget,
the budget?
and then the finance committee would
Provides recommendations.
advise on it.
Okay,
So,
I guess.
I mean, nobody here wants to change these ideals, right? I mean,
Right,
so I'm just gonna put advisory only. I'm not even, again, I just wanna say, from our purview, creating a charter, this is our comment to these comments.
yeah,
I'm not here to critique her law
okay,
or comments of the
her
law.
logic, well, that's why she should, yeah.
I don't think we should get, you know, into that, unless Anthony or Becca says something's illegal, then we'll put it in there.
Yeah.
But if they don't, I'm not gonna
Advisory.
go
only.
that way, yeah.
That's
All right,
pretty good.
revolving fund authority, revolving funds must be authorized by town bylaw.
I don't remember ever discussing.
Reserve fund?
No, I don't.
Again, this is not in our purview, right?
Yeah.
No.
Annual spending limits,
Yeah.
not really in our purview, right, Becca, Anthony, right?
There's nothing.
Not part of the
there's nothing in
charter?
language,
Yeah.
Nothing in the charter.
Reserve fund.
So if nothing in the charter, refer to
Revolving
state law.
funds is different than.
And that's the way it is.
Yeah.
If it's not in our charter, it's gonna go to state law, so they're gonna approve this thing, the state's gonna shoot them down or not, whatever they do, they do.
Yep.
And if the people vote that that's, they want these people to spend all their money, fine by me, that's what they do. State will shoot it down if it's not approved, it's not legal. And I'm sure they're gonna run this by the town council, everybody, so it's like,
Yeah.
this is kind of like I don't really, like, I didn't want Anthony and Becca to get bogged down in this, like, legal review process. Heather's kinda trying to put us into that process, we're not here to do that legal review process.
No.
Alright, we're just here to see how it affects our charter and put an opinion out on that, but our charter's not approved either, so. Alright, and then get annual spending limits not in our purview. So number 3, budget submissions, finance bylaw change, finance committee submits budgets. We don't agree with that, we're putting that under the TA, the select board, correct?
Correct.
That's where I got lost, yeah.
Yeah, we want.
I was on number 3, I skipped ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay. And then draft charter, town administrator constructs and submits the budget, finance committee provides recommendations.
That was what
Yeah,
I just said.
that's
why
really
I-
just, that's the way we have it set up.
That's where I don't understand, like, how
Yeah.
is, I don't know, like, she
Yeah, that's all right,
found a
no.
conflict with
Yes, that's
that?
the way it
Yes,
stands.
she's saying.
No, she's just stating that, as it's
Okay.
different from what they're proposing.
Okay.
I think that's all she's
They're
doing now.
And she looked at the draft and said that's the conflict.
Alright, so yes, I'm just gonna put yes, that's the way we're drafting it.
Okay.
Reserve fund transfer authority requires clarification. Again, is any of this in our purview? Finance bylaw change reaffirms finance committee reserve,
Draft charter
Authority.
is silent on this authority, so refer to state law. It's not-
not in our purview. So number 4 is done. Number 5, relevant law, finance bylaw change gives finance committee joint capital plan responsibilities. Draft charter places capital plan creation solely under the town administrator, with the capital improvement planning committee providing recommendations. That's the way we've built the charter, we're all in agreement that's the way it's gonna be, right, correct?
Yep.
Alright, so I'm just, that's she's stating the obvious, and that's what it is, yep,
She gave us one finally.
so we're not
She
changing
gave
that.
us two. Actually, she gave us,
Alright, so this is simple reply,
Yeah.
yeah.
this is a simple reply, it's not as big as it, being made out
Oh,
to be,
yeah,
so
no, 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 no.
we'll, shoot that back. I'll email it back. Becker and Leah and, Anthony, any other comments regarding that memo in in those proposed bylaw changes?
Nothing from us.
Well, thank you, both, and you too, Leah, for your insight, but, and everybody, thank you everybody for going through this. I wasn't sure how to handle this thing, but I think as we just kinda went along, I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
Simple, stupid here, let's just move along, not get sucked into the weeds there.
She needs
Um,
to do
The
that.
people will say what they want. But thank you, Anthony and Becca, for your legal and your time to review this and your insight. Very helpful, very, very helpful, thank you. All right, so that's the correspondence. Here we go, let's keep on rolling. All right, so now to the meat and taters of tonight. Let's go through, review the updated language changes from Anthony and Becca, and let's try to get through this last area of the charter. Anthony, do you wanna take over?
Yeah, I'll take it over, so, I'll kind of skip over it, so 4-5, the planning board, you just changed that from 5 years to 3, so that's, I already added that to the charter, so we'll circulate that after the meeting. Then if you jump down to Article, if you jump down to Article 9, town elections, 9-2, that talks about the, language for incumbents, which we added.
Anthony, excuse me one moment. Before we go there, in my review of this, of the charter, I just wanna bring this one thing up. So I'm on Article 6, under the Finance Committee. And under 6-2, Section, well, really 2 and 3, cause up in 2, we have, the very last thing under 2 is any appointment rejected, by the select board committee, no, wait a minute, no. The town clerk shall be, no, up in number 1, the town clerk shall be considered ratified. So when we go down to the number 3, the appointments, we took out the town clerk should be, notifying the town clerk. And I don't know if we should be consistent with having that language in both of those appointment sections. So,
You're at 6-2,
alright, so
paragraph 2.
6-2, paragraph 2. So I'll read this. Appointments by the moderator to the finance committee must be filed with the town clerk and ratified by the select board. So, must be filed with the town clerk was a section we added in, everybody, okay? Because it used to just be, when you read the bylaw right now, it just says appointments by the moderator to the finance committee get ratified by the select board at their next meeting. That's pretty much all that says, okay? So we kind of twisted this around a little bit. Now, a failure of the select board to ratify the appointment within 30 days of such appointment being filed with the town clerk shall be considered ratified.
So
Now-
all we said was that if the select board doesn't do it within 30 days.
We added the 30 days. That section was added from the next meeting to 30 days. But the thing about the town clerk shall be, the appointment being filed with the town clerk. When you go down to section 3, and all the way down to the 1, the last thing, such committee appointments shall be subject to ratification by the select board
Oh, I see what
in
you're saying.
accordance with section
Okay,
282.
yeah, yeah.
But should we put, and notified, with, and being filed with the town clerk? Because you have to file with the town clerk up here, but we don't have it down there. So I just want to be consistent with the procedure.
You wanna find
That both appointments, no matter how it gets done, it gets filed with the town clerk in there,
I don't have a problem with that.
right?
So,
Yeah.
let me just reread that, please. So the reason that we use, in 1, so it's such committee appointments, this is for vacancies that happen in the middle of a term.
Yep.
Such committee appointments shall be subject to the ratification by the select board in accordance with section 6-2A2, which is the paragraph you just read.
Oh, okay, so that's it right there. All right,
It's to require the same process without having to spell it all out, so we just,
gotcha.
it's to
You tricked me right through the 5-0. Nice job. All right. All right, cool.
9-2.
Sorry about that then. All right,
Reference,
yep,
good.
beautiful.
So it's all
Okay,
set.
so go ahead, Anthony, sorry about that.
No, that's what we're here for. So I'm skipping, down to 9-2, where, we added language for incumbents, and I'll just read I think it should be highlighted and everybody's.
Yep.
Person who is a candidate for a position which they currently hold shall be entitled to have the words candidate for re-election printed with that person's name on the election ballot.
Sounds good to me. Anybody have an issue with that?
That's what we wanted.
Leah, you good with that? I know she was gonna be in and out, so, yep, here she comes.
I'm good, sorry, thank
Yeah, no problem, I know you're busy. Thank you. All right, yeah, so that's good, Anthony.
And then at the last meeting, we talked about Article 11, which is recall. We went through this already, we can go through it again, but I'm only bringing our attention to it because one of the things we left out at the last meeting was the recall provisions had some language about what should happen if somebody tried to recall the town clerk. So because between the last meeting and this meeting, we added in a transition section because the town clerk will become an appointed position. I moved some of the language, I'll get to in a second, about a recall applying to a town clerk to the transition section, because it will only apply to the elected town clerk until they either retire or voluntarily give up.
Volunteer, yeah.
So we'll get to that when we get to the transition section.
Okay.
So that's it for, and a lot of that language, so Article 11 and up, you've kind of already seen. Article 12 is all new, so we go through this a little bit more slowly.
Okay.
It's in red.
Yep.
So, some of this is boilerplate, and some of this is sort of more substantial. So, number 1 in section 1, continuation of existing laws, is that all existing laws that don't conflict with the charter will continue to be in existence. So this applies to obviously bylaws, state laws, special acts. Obviously the state law which you can't really trump. So again, that's some just general plumbing and maintenance.
Okay.
the continuation of the government administration, section 2. All municipal agencies will continue in existence. You didn't make any really substantial changes to the government.
No.
So it won't be a major issue for you, but if there were any changes, how they will transition later, appear later on in this section. But, you know, again, here we're just saying that for the most part, the administration, the parts that aren't covered in the charter, they continue to exist, you know, as existing. The same thing for property and records, that's section 3. Again, a lot of this is just the plumbing and maintenance that, you know, the town will continue to own the property it owns, and it will, you know, the records will continue to be properly maintained. Same thing for the personnel. This charter will not affect the current staffing or anything of that nature for the town. As well as 5, the town is a entity entering the contract, so none of these obligations will be voided or negatively impacted by the charter.
Okay.
Section 6 is when we start getting some newer things. So your language says that the charter will become effective upon ratification by the town of Rutland. So that's when it comes back from the state. The voters will vote on whether or not that they approve the charter after the state has said, okay, we will pass this special act. So that's what 6 says. That, again, depending on how many changes you had, that could have been a little bit more complicated, but in this case, it seems to be pretty simple. So it won't, even if the state comes back and says, hey, we think this is fine, we passed it in the legislature, it actually doesn't become effective until you have a local vote.
Anthony, should we state that in this section, that, you know, ratification by the town of Rutland after state approval? Should that be added to this?
So that, I could say, upon ratification by a vote of the population of the, I could say that.
Because
That's essentially what it but
I'm concerned that people, like, at this town vote, people are gonna think it's automatically law.
Well,
okay, so so this charter shall become effective upon its ratification by the voters of the town of Rutland after approval by the state legislature.
yes.
You know what I'm saying? I just,
You got
I mean, I
2
guess
month appeal
there's 2, I
process
guess
and-
my other side.
there is 2, and I, you know,
So my other side of that is that I'm not sure everybody, should we add that? Because I think the flip side of that is
I know, I thought about that
people
too.
want the control in Rutland and they don't want it to be like, okay, you know, it's gonna be approved by the state. I think some people want the local control. I'm not strong either way, but
But it's,
Well,
I didn't wanna make it too complicated by adding
educate
too much
them when we-
language.
We
Yeah.
educate them when we tell them
Exactly,
about it.
exactly,
that's true.
Sandra.
That's
Because
true.
that question when it gets asked in public forum, well, we're
Right.
voting to, you know, this
Okay.
year
Yeah.
to push it to the
This is
state,
what a
and
charter
then we'll vote on it
is.
again next year
yeah,
if they
I
make
guess
any
that
changes.
is a good question to
Yeah.
clarify.
So I just wanna,
The process of the
Yeah.
charter is.
but at least if people know that it says after the state looks at it, so no
Right.
matter when they vote on it, the state's looking at it,
Right.
and then they gotta look at it,
the
so,
state, the
Actually, I
state's
don't-
just looking at it to make sure there's no shady
Legal.
business.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can I get a clarification from Anthony? I don't think the town votes on it, I think we present it to the select board, and the select board submits it to the state, and then the town votes. I don't think the town has to vote on it before it goes to the state.
No, they go
The
vote.
town has to okay it and then it's okay to go, is what I thought.
Anthony, we vote on this at, you know, before it goes to the state, correct? The town has to approve that?
No, so
It
what
goes to
happens
state
is,
first.
the committee will finish its work and present its proposed charter to the select board.
Yeah.
Presumably, the select board will put it on the town warrant. The town meeting has to approve the special act to go to the state legislature.
Yeah.
Once it goes to the state legislature, the general court votes on it. Again, presuming they approve it, it will go to the governor's desk, the governor will sign it. At that point, it will come back to the town. And while it will have been, you know, approved as a special act by the state legislature,
It's not approved by
there
the
is an
state.
additional step for the town at an election to have the general, you know, to have all the, you know, eligible voters then vote on it. So presumably a bigger population than your town meeting.
It's way more steps than I thought.
So
That's like 3 more steps than I
so
thought.
there's 2 chances for them to shoot it down.
Yeah.
So an election, so town meeting first, then an election, got it?
Town meeting, state town meeting,
I
basically.
mean, this-
Basically, it's the town has to approve
We are
this
gonna do another
coming year.
public meeting, right? Is that, cause I don't know, cause that's almost like, you could kind of maybe read the room to see what the feedback is, cause, you know, some people
Yeah.
don't like things at the state level, and if somebody was like, we could kind of leave it the way it is, you know, voted on town, if we feel like the feedback is that,
Well, that's what we're doing
well,
with
that's
the
true,
charter, is we're keeping it.
that's true,
Are
on the
you saying,
local
like,
level,
yes.
yeah,
Are you
I don't
saying
know.
subtract that? So
No,
subtract
no,
that
I
after
think-
state approval?
No, I think, I don't know, I guess it's like a devil's advocate kind of thing. I could see it going either way, but, I mean, I guess my whole concern is like you want people to vote it thinking that the control is in the town and not
So
necessarily
we
the
should
state.
just be, we should be clear that that's
Well, that's
exactly what
true.
the charter is
I
doing.
don't think, yeah, exactly.
It just needed to.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry guys, if I may.
Go ahead, Leo.
I think this process, and Anthony, back correct me if I'm wrong, is essentially how, one of two ways that the cities and towns could establish a charter, and this provides the most input from the community for the charter approval process. It's not uncommon, we have a lot of things that get approved at town meeting that then have to go through the state for the legislature approval, such as any of the special acts, the recall that we just did, even changing the select board from 3 members to 5 members, changing the town clerk from appointed, or from an elected to appointed, I think had to go through some level of state input. So it's not uncommon, for that, and so I think it's a review from the state to ensure that A, we're staying legal and that we're still in the best interest of the community.
Yeah, they don't want us to go rogue, you know.
Yeah, no, you want the state to review it. So, back on this language of 12-6, Do-
I personally like what you, I don't have a problem.
do we wanna leave it the way it is? I mean, you kinda seem like you wanna leave it the way it is, bro.
I'm not as strong for it can be changed, it doesn't, you know,
Well,
like I
I think-
said.
I just like less words.
Based on yours, I just read it, what I.
Go ahead, Anthony, go ahead, please.
Your suggestion, so, this charter shall become effective upon its ratification by the voters of the town of Rutland after approval by the Massachusetts General Court.
That's good.
That sounds good.
That's
Is that good?
Yeah,
Beautiful.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Well done
Yeah.
as usual, brother.
Yeah.
Nice work. Alright. Keep going, my friend.
With that, I'll move down to 2-7, that is the, transition to the appointed town clerk. So, most of this is pulled from the special act that passed, a few years ago, or maybe it was last year, I think. But I pulled it from the special act, with the main difference being, subparagraph C, so if you look at the last, paragraph in 12-7, the elected town clerk is subject to the recall provisions of Article 11 of this charter. If the elected town clerk is the subject of the recall provisions defined in Article 11 of this charter, the assistant town clerk shall perform the duties of the town clerk in connection with the recall affidavit, petition, and special recall election. Provided, however, notwithstanding the provisions of Section 14 of Chapter 41 of the general laws, the select board may appoint a temporary town clerk to instead perform the duties of the town clerk as specified by this subsection. So, this is something that the town has already voted on as a special act, and this is the section that applies the recall now to this, I don't wanna say interim, but your short-term elected town clerk.
Sure, yeah, the swan song. Yep. Any
No,
problems with that?
The only thing I see is this, on the, if the successor, it's FF, it should be IF. Just a typo there.
Where are we looking?
That's, so it's on, 12-7 and then recall, then it says if the successor fails, but it says FF instead of if. On 12-7, when you flip
Are you in
the,
A, B, or C in the 12-7?
You're in the black font.
I'm in the black font, whatever that
Second
is.
page, line 2.
Unless my,
Well, you see the A and the B and the C on the side?
maybe my pages got
Yeah,
screwed up.
that's 11-6,
Oh.
that's 11-5.
Oh, 11-5, I'm sorry. My pages got screwed up. And 11-5
11-5, there's a typo.
is a typo.
Oh,
I was
Okay.
on the wrong page, sorry.
Good catch.
okay,
Oh, yeah, they're good, no, that's a good call.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
so,
At least I did something.
okay. Everybody fine with section C that he added?
Yep.
Yes.
And that's
Leah, you
part
good
of
with that?
Special Act of 2024, correct?
Yeah.
Good, thanks.
Okay, great, yeah, leave it in. Anthony, great work.
Okay, so now I'm gonna jump down to, or not jump, moving down to 12-8. So this is another interesting one. So this is a bylaw review. So you guys kind of, we kind of started the meeting here. So if there are any bylaws that conflict with the charter, then those should be modified. So this creates a bylaw review that should be initiated 30 days after the charter is ratified by the voters. The select board will appoint a 7-person committee to review the town bylaws for the purpose of preparing such revisions or amendments as may be necessary to bring the bylaws in conformance with the charter. And it also appoints the town clerk as an advisor to the committee, and for the committee to complete its work within a year of its appointment.
Okay. I mean, I think it's not heavy lifting because, you've done a great job, you and Becca, looking at our bylaws and, charting this course, and we've gone through those quite a bit, so I don't see any major discrepancies, but there are some other areas.
Is that a new committee or the bylaw committee?
This-
Bylaw
So this
review
creates a
committee.
separate, basically transitional committee to make sure that the transition goes smoothly as you implement the new charter.
So there's a transition committee?
The select board shall appoint 7 persons to a committee to begin a review of the town bylaws for the purpose of preparing such revisions, but we've already got a bylaw committee, so there's gonna be a new.
No, it's a review, in case
I
like,
think, if I may, I think the current existing bylaw committee is focused on the existing bylaws and any new bylaws that come up. There was recently a stormwater bylaw that they worked on, the conservation, wetlands protection act bylaw, and that kind of stuff. So this, is with a committee dedicated to looking at the charter and the existing bylaws and ensuring that that transition, as Anthony and Becca said, is.
Making sure all the language
Right.
drives.
it's like if the finance committee passed their bylaw and it didn't sync with the charter, there'd have to be a review committee to say, okay, wait a minute, the charter trumps, but the finance committee came up with this bylaw,
Yes.
and then they appoint 7 people to review that.
Yeah, you're just combing through everything, cross-referencing. AI will do that in like 10 minutes.
I
Give him
know.
2 months, Anthony,
Yeah.
use AI,
That's
this thing will be
what I
done in
thought.
2 weeks.
I thought we were
Kind
doing
of
it.
as a committee
No,
itself.
no.
That's what I
So
thought we
that's-
were supposed to be doing.
Hold on, Rick.
Reading everything, that there may be areas that may need to be looked at and,
Yep.
and reworked or reworded or something.
So I don't think anybody has a problem with this, but
No,
just
no, no.
to take this a little step further, Anthony, is there a transition committee for this, or is this the committee, basically the transition committee? These 7 people being, appointed to review these bylaws?
Well, you don't have many major changes, so you don't have a transition committee in terms of, this is just an example, just theoretical. So for example, if you were to be moving from a select board with a town administrator to, let's say, a city councilor, or like a city with a mayor and stuff, then you might have an interim, you might create, for your select board, you might create an interim period for them to help transition to the council, stuff like that.
Yep.
So that's a lot of machinery that you don't need.
Yep.
The only thing that, you don't have to have this, again, you can take out anything that we put in, but we recommend, we did look at some of your bylaws, specifically within the purpose of organizational governance, but we didn't look at all the bylaws.
Sure.
So we recommend that you have somebody, residents of the town, look at the charter and look at the bylaws, and they're not gonna make recommendations on the charter, they're just gonna say, all right, we've got this charter, let's look through our bylaws carefully and see if any of them conflict with the charter.
Okay.
And then we can recommend to the town meeting, this needs to be modified in this way to bring it in alignment with the charter document.
Okay.
Do we already have a bylaw subcommittee, a bylaw review subcommittee already that is in existence?
That's what I mean, I thought we already had 2
Yes, no, that's-
different types of
that's
bylaw committees, like then have them come in here,
Well,
check it over.
so you're saying we have a
and then
bylaw
boom.
committee and then a review committee? Is that what you're asking, Michelle?
Yeah,
Leah, do we have 2 bylaw committees, one that creates them and one that reviews them, or do we just have one?
We currently have a permanently seated bylaw committee that they're tasked with, I forget what their bylaw is, a periodic comprehensive review of all town bylaws. And they're the avenue that if a citizen or board or committee or anyone wants to bring forth a new bylaw, it's supposed to go through them for the appropriate review and legal process and everything of that nature. I think what this is establishing is a separate committee.
Yeah, no, separate, but I'm just saying, right now existing, we only have that one committee, correct?
I thought we had it.
We don't have another committee that
I
reviews
thought
what
there
they're
was a
doing.
bylaw committee and then a
No, we
bylaw
had
review
an
committee.
ad hoc bylaw committee that was, the ad
Okay.
hoc bylaw committee is the committee that brought forth the comprehensive bylaw changes that we just approved at town meeting, 2 Februarys ago.
Okay,
That committee dissolved after those
Oh.
bylaws were
Gotcha.
passed,
Okay.
and then paved the way for the permanent bylaw committee that we currently have seated to do that work.
good,
So
alright,
this would just be another ad hoc bylaw committee, essentially.
So it wouldn't be us, it'd be somebody else.
It's not us.
No,
we
no,
do
no,
our
but that's
job.
what I'm thinking, I'm like.
so really, the
So
same
we're
thing
gonna
they
have
did
a
within the
third?
bylaws,
Unless you want
they would just do
to
the charter.
take that
Yeah.
job.
So-
Yeah,
You
just do that.
Tell them, to get the band back together, you know?
exactly, recall.
Another encore performance for you,
There you go.
alright, great,
Did you let
alright,
her-
thank you, I think we'll leave that, everybody's in agreement to leave that in there, and,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
but, yeah,
thank you, Anthony, that's fine.
It might have been a joke, but did you say something that you wanted to change the timing of it? Like how long it takes for them to do it?
No,
That was a joke, yeah, no, I was joking with you saying, look, just give them like 2 weeks
Yes.
with AI,
yes,
they'll be
we
done like in no
spent
time
long
flat,
enough, yeah,
right?
TikTok.
Just making sure.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's fine, they'll use AI and be done in 2 weeks. Alright, so keep moving along here.
Alright, now the last section is on, disposition of certain laws, so there are certain laws that are state laws that apply specifically to Rutland. So these are special acts that, may have been passed and that may have been adopted in the past, and other, optional laws that, well, let me go through this first. So first, we went through, you don't have many, special acts that cover governance, so there are 3, which this charter is now going to trump. So that's the recent law to change the, appointed to an appointed town clerk, chapter 6, the, increase of the size of the board of selectmen, as well as, the office of the treasurer collector. So this trumps those special acts. So that's A, and then B, special acts unaffected. So to the extent that there are other special acts that aren't addressed here, to the extent that they are not in conflict with the charter, they remain in effect. And then the last one is local option statute. So just for some background, there are some state laws that say, here's a state law, but it only applies to your town or your municipality if the town meeting or the select board, whoever it identifies, votes to say that it applies to our town. So again, so this says that those local option statutes are revoked only to the extent that they conflict with the charter.
Gotcha, okay. Yeah, some of the blue laws and border towns have those, you know, certain towns are affected by those things, but, yeah. Okay, yeah, no problems with any of that, right, guys? I mean,
No, yeah.
it's all pretty, you know,
Well,
sounds
the only
like,
problem is all the numbering and stuff is section 1216,
yeah,
but the words are fine.
Section, it should be section 12(8), 12(9).
And then we go A, C, D, yeah, it should be 12:9, A, B, C.
Oh, I see.
But that's all.
Your numbering is wrong there, Anthony.
So it goes 12(8) to 12(16),
Local
and
options.
then A to C.
7, 8, and then to 16?
Yeah.
So you're saying 16 should be 9?
Doesn't mind.
Yeah, cause it goes 12:7, 12:8,
Yeah, no,
12:16, like, are we missing something?
yeah, I didn't know,
Yeah,
he might have just, yeah.
It was kinda
pulled
like
some
when I was
stuff.
on the wrong section pointing out a typo.
I don't care what you call it,
yeah.
you can call it 12-85.
Are you kidding me? No, people will start digging and be like, wait, well,
Like,
what
wait,
happened to
what
the?
happened?
Yeah.
The other 43.
What did they put in there? What did we just vote for?
Alright, yeah, so just, change the 12-16 to 12-9.
That's all.
We're excellent.
That's just housekeeping
Is
stuff.
there anything
Okay.
else, or do we wanna discuss the next date?
Yeah, is that everything with the charter?
I have a couple,
That's a complete charter. You guys have a.
Yep, anybody, any questions on the charter?
I have a couple notes.
Okay, Michelle has a couple questions on the charter.
I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
No,
I'm
no.
so sorry. We, section 2.2 and 2.8. We were supposed to look at this again, we talked about it on March 13th of last year. I went through all my notes.
Wow.
So sorry, I did actual homework.
No, that's
I did homework. So we were supposed to review that again, we never talked about that again, about Randy needing to reread everything. Anthony's notes on, 313 were that it really shouldn't be in the charter, we should take that out, and we never, ended up talking about that.
I remember that, I do remember
Yeah,
that.
we talked about it, and then we were gonna come back to it. and
The
we never-
moderator shall not be required to read the entirety of each article. Isn't that what we put in there?
I thought we wanted to leave that in
I thought that was what
there.
we said.
We did, but then Anthony said, and I have in my notes, that Anthony said it's probably overreach, that it falls under the moderator's discretion for,
To reading about the entire thing,
what
right?
he should do and what he shouldn't do.
Doesn't.
I like leaving it in there personally.
I do too.
I think it's still kind of safe.
Because it says
It
no.
codifies what they should be doing, because I don't think he knew he could do that. When
That
when
he
we were
didn't
talking
have
to him.
to,
That he
yeah.
didn't have to, exactly.
Yeah,
So now, any more you can hit him with it, the
It
better off.
says not be required, doesn't say that he can't.
Exactly.
So if he
So
wants-
again, at least it's his discretion, right?
yeah, but then we can raise our hands and say, hey, hey.
Two, then what'd you have on 2-8?
Leave it
2-8, it was just, in my notes, it goes back to, written motions shall be presented in writing to town clerk, and we were supposed to look at that in conjunction with with Randy reading everything. I don't know why I had them tied together, but I had them tied together. I gotta look at my notes.
Was it to save time? Is it that?
It was to save time, but, let me see. I said we were supposed to look at this again, see notes on 313.
I know when I read that, I was like, is that like literally written or is an email, not an email,
I have to turn the computer around just for a second, guys.
Oh, I'm still here, I just turned my video, my.
Oh, that's okay.
Yep.
I just have to see the note.
So that's just saying that every motion
oh,
Yeah.
must be presented in writing to the town clerk prior to the vote
Here we go.
on such
Anthony's
motion.
notes, after reviewing charters of similar communities, the project team is recommending removing section 2.8 and 2.9. The town moderator has broad discretion to manage his meeting, and these provisions infringe upon that authority. Additionally, enshrining these rules in the charter would make future modifications significantly more difficult. If the committee wishes to retain these rules, we recommend placing them in the bylaws instead, as they are easier to amend. This recommendation also applies to the committee's proposals regarding reconsideration and the requirement to read the entire warrant article. So that's what Anthony noted for those two sections. 2.8, 2.9 is one apparently, but 2.8 and 2.
2-9's the one then.
Debate.
Oh,
Debate,
2.9, yeah.
A, B, and C.
So Anthony had suggested that we get rid of 2.8, 2.9, and the part about reading the thing.
So it's Leah, if I may quick, I know legal counsel is always at our town meetings, and they always reiterate to the moderator that it's not required that the moderator reads the articles. And, they also reiterate follow-up that any proposed changes, amendments, or changes to motions be submitted, in print before a vote is taken. So I think that really falls on town council, and I can understand, I don't necessarily feel that it needs to be in the charter. If we wanna affirm it by a bylaw, we can, but like I said, council has been very good the past, since we've had KP, since I've been on the board and been attending town meetings, affirming all of this.
So basically, we're looking to remove 2.8 and 2.9.
I say we leave it in there. I just don't see a reason why you'd change it.
We added it, we didn't change anything, we added it.
No, but like this just
But didn't we-
codifies what we're doing right now.
yeah, didn't we say
Okay.
that so that people don't go and drone on and
Because-
on and on and kill
Well,
time and waste
I
time?
think there's a misunderstanding about what the rules are.
Mhm.
And I think when we discussed this was important to help codify.
I think what we discussed, if I remember correctly, is that Randy has been the town moderator for so long. Going forward, if Randy was not the town moderator, somebody could refer to the charter to have a the
This is what we
guideline,
do.
because
Yeah.
Randy knows and town council does it, but if we have a charter there, somebody stepping into a moderator role, would be able to refer to the charter and say, this is what they've done,
These
this
are
is
my
what,
guidelines.
these are my guidelines, and that's why I think we put it in
It's not just the
there.
way Randy did it, or Addison before
Right,
him did it.
because that assumes that they have the prior knowledge that
I do
Randy
remember that
did,
too. Good
and
call,
then we
though.
added in just so, for the future.
Right, and I was just going through my
Yeah.
notes about what we
Right,
had
'cause we
cleared up.
did
and
have a
what-
big discussion
Right,
about
what
it,
we
yeah.
had cleared up
yeah.
and what we didn't clear
Okay,
up, and
okay.
I just had that open still as something that we didn't get cleared up. So
Yeah.
that's,
Great work.
cause I'm taking the notes, like I'm trying to
So
write
great
down
work, Michelle.
what we're
It's all good.
doing.
This
No,
is the time
that's
to do
good,
it.
because
It's the
good
time to do
remind-
it.
It's a
Just-
good thing to remind us.
No, we ain't got much time tonight
Yeah,
to get into
so-
much of anything else, so
Okay.
might as well beat everything to a dead horse right now and get it over with.
Keeping that.
I just have one question
Go ahead,
on,
Sandra.
2-1.
2-1.
Now, because you made me remember to go back, I put a little note here that says, the legislative powers of the town shall be vested in a town meeting open to all voters of the town. Should it be all voters, like legal residents of the town, or is that just understood? Open to all voters of the town, but you'd have to be a legal resident of the town
To be a voter.
to be a voter,
That's
right?
understood to vote, yeah.
So it doesn't need to say that,
Correct.
or it does, okay,
You have to be a legal resident here to be able to vote.
okay.
You can get it quicker and, yeah. you get
Cause
it-
I think I put that a couple places like, this is like residents,
Yeah.
residents,
Yeah.
residents.
Yeah.
No, no, if you're renting here, you're still a legal resident,
Right, right,
you
right.
know, or so you don't have to own property per se, you can just be a renter as well. Still deserve the right to
Proceed.
vote.
Bill
Yeah.
address. you know,
Yeah, if your license and everything has all been changed to a Rutland address, yeah.
People who are not registered
Anything else,
voters.
any other little tidbits?
3.8.
3-8, 3-8.
3.8, we had discussed that, the selectmen are not, per the ethics laws in the states, aren't supposed to be on any other town board, even a board or committee,
They can't vote.
except, no, they're not supposed to be on them.
Oh.
And since we're prohibiting, we have specific language prohibiting the finance committee from being on any board or committee, I was just thinking that that language should mimic the finance committee one, just to keep it consistent.
Well, what's different about the finance one and this one?
The finance
They're not allowed
committee-
to be on anything either.
Right,
No, but I think this is in reference to actual employment in the
Yeah.
town, a
Yes.
paid position.
it is,
Yeah.
however,
Yeah. This is much broader area than
Yeah.
the finance committee is.
it is,
Sorry, it's also, Leah, it's Leah, sorry, I think, and Anthony, Becky, you might know this better than I do, but I believe per the code of ethics or conflict of interest, I can't remember which one, select board members should not be serving on any board or committee for
Correct.
which the select board appoints to unless it's
Correct.
as I think it's spelled out in the charter, unless it's demanding representation from the select board. So we, select board appoints conservation commission. We shouldn't be appointing any select board member to conservation commission, because that doesn't spell out a need for a select board member. So I think that speaks follows conflict of interest or code of
Correct.
ethics or
Yes.
whatever. Sorry.
You understood where I was going, because we talked about that, and I thought that was supposed to be in here someplace, because we do have it spelled out in the finance committee, which is a bylaw that the town made, and that's not under anything. But that we don't have it stated, I think you're right, it's under the conflict of interest laws, that they're not supposed to be on any board that they appoint to, and we haven't spelled that out.
Thought it
And I
was,
think
cause I
that
remember
it's
something saying that they're only
where
allowed to,
MGL and conflict of interest and code of ethics would prompt the charter because
It's in the finance that they can't be on something.
Right, and finance is fine, I don't have any, there was no, I'm just saying, we don't have the language on the select board side of it. We specifically put it on the finance side of it, because it was in the bylaw already,
Well, that's it, 3-8's in the select board.
it doesn't say
Yeah,
committees.
so three says any other town office or
Or,
government, so other, I mean, a town office technically is your,
No member of the select board shall hold any other town office or town government employee during the term for which they are elected.
and then you have an exemption.
except.
Yeah, the exemption, like this committee,
Yeah.
we talked about how Leah's on this committee.
Because this committee would fall under the definition of another town office.
So, okay, so any other town committee would also fall under town office, I mean, my words are all messed up. So any other, we're saying any other, just because I wanna write down why we're changing this. This is a new thing, and we wanna be clear on why we're putting that in there. Because it's under the conflict of interest laws. So we're saying town office covers appointed boards as well.
Correct.
Okay,
Or that's the general understanding, yeah, that would, yeah.
okay. Perfect.
I think it was read this one.
So Anthony, did you just say that a select board member could not sit on this committee?
No,
Right, yeah, I remember, so we did have an in-depth conversation about this, that's
Yeah.
where actually, exemption came out now. I always tell people to trick, or committees to trick here from here, because the conflict of interest law is very, it's adept in a lot of different scenarios, because there actually is an outlet clause in the, under the, conflict of interest law where, some small towns, they, everybody serves on all the boards, because they don't have
Is
enough.
it so small?
Yeah.
You don't have enough people that can sort of declare, and you as a select board member can serve on other boards and stuff, so,
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you guys that I wouldn't recommend
It would be
doing it, but,
3-5.
I was trying to be ginger here, so you have a pretty broad thing saying, if you're on the select board, you cannot do anything else officially in town except serve on select board, and then you have an exemption that says ad hoc committees, now, these words aren't in the charter, but like the charter drafting committee, they can sit on, if they're uncompensated in their ad hoc. Now, ad hoc committees can be created by the town meeting or the, select board. And we've got a definition for ad hoc committees in 1-8. Ad hoc committee is a temporary committee formed to address a specific issue or task, typically upon completion of that task.
So we're an ad hoc committee, didn't we have that discussion?
Yeah, so we would, so this committee would fall under an ad hoc committee
So we fall under
as
the
we defined it in
exemption.
this.
Yeah, okay.
okay, so I just wanted to make sure,
Okay.
town office covers committees.
What else?
Okay, anything else?
I think that was all my comments that I had.
Okay.
You did good.
Nothing
on
Because
I just read through it and
I
asked
did go back.
questions to myself, but I didn't go back.
I know that somebody's gonna see it and they wanna know why we put something in. and why we
It's
didn't
worth the
put it
work,
in.
it's true.
Okay, so I think at this time, it's 8:15, ladies and gentlemen, and I think it's probably time to kind of cap tonight's festivities. We've accomplished quite a bit tonight, a lot of good stuff, a lot of really good conversation going back and forth, so not everybody agreeing, but figuring it all out, that's great stuff. Looking ahead here for our next meeting, personally, I'd like to try to do something kind of sooner than later, keep this moving, because we kind of got through, we just started touching on item 3 of the agenda, reviewing the charter document and highlighting any of the changes. I've gone through about probably 2/3, 3/4 of it, highlighting what's different from the bylaws and things of that nature. We're still gonna have that discussion, and then continue on any other little, items that we creep up on. We'll probably find a few other things as we continue to go through this personally. So, what's your next availability to kind of pick up right there and move along?
Do you wanna keep the same 2-week?
Or do you wanna get in again, like, in another week?
I'm away the 11th, 12th, and 13th, so I cannot do the 11th, unfortunately. So, 4th or the 18th, and the 18th's a holiday week too.
I can do
What's it,
either.
the next Wednesday?
Oh my God, for
Yeah,
once,
next
I can do
Wednesday.
either.
I can do the fourth,
I can do the 4th as well.
I think.
Let's,
Oh, shit, I don't know.
we should not do the 5th because it's a select board.
Yeah, I think the 4th is working, I mean, the Wednesdays are working good for everybody.
I mean, that is
Um,
next week. but
Yeah.
that's
It's next
okay.
week, but-
That's fine.
I just think, I'm off the 11th, the 18th's gonna be a tough one.
And we wanna wrap
I wanna
it up.
get, yeah, Michelle, I wanna get this
What if
thing,
we had like a
I wanna-
wet night?
Heather talked about us and the finance committee getting together, and I don't think I wanna go down that road, but I do wanna invite them
Right.
to the town thing, we could do that there,
Yeah,
with a lot of other people too, not just them. you know, and keep it an open forum and just keep everybody's opinions out there and, you know, keep moving forward. So I wanna get to that point now. I think, I don't wanna beat this thing to death, but I mean, it's time to get the, community engagement rolling here so that we're ready to present a quality document for to the select board and, you know, on the warrant.
Can we, does Becca and Anthony come to that public one in case we get really stuck on something, they can
Not
answer
usually.
something?
The public one, we.
They're welcome to.
There was no
Okay.
Zoom link, remember, last
Yeah.
time, and that's.
Just
Alright.
curious,
Yeah.
in case someone gives us a.
So, do we think Anthony and Becca, we're gonna need them? Well, Anthony, so just talking this through here, if we meet next Wednesday, are you and Becca available there? Does that work for you guys?
The fourth?
The fourth?
I'm available the fourth.
And I don't think we'll need you for long, to be honest. Because I think we'd probably just review any little changes you just made to sections 1 through 12, right? Just recap that if there's even anything to discuss, won't be much. And then after that, we're just gonna go through this charter and highlight what we've tweaked, what's kinda new, you know, any bylaw that we've, you know, we're saying we should twist a little bit, and then creating that thing, and I don't know that we need them for it. You're perfectly welcome to, you know, and you know, join us.
Freezing come, yeah.
Getting us organized to talk.
Yeah, yeah. And just for us to get ourselves prepared to present to the town. So,
2-4 at 6:30?
2-4 at 6:30, everybody good with that?
Two-
That'll be pretty much the agenda, just review the minutes, correspondence, those things are automatic, and then Anthony's comments, you know, corrections, and then we'll dive into that.
Okay.
Okay, and then, again, fourth on my agenda was possibly start discussions with the town, preview and setting up meetings with them, so, all right?
Fantastic.
All right, well, sorry for the struggles early on, but we persevered, made the hill,
Thank you.
so good job, everybody.
Motion
Um,
to adjourn.
Can we put
Motion to
the-
adjourn, I have one, do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second, thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Would like to go home.
Thank you all.
Good night, everybody,
Thank you.
thank you. Take care. Thanks, Becca, thanks,
No,
Anthony.
Because you was the first,
I don't
the
want
first
Thank you, Jacob.
Yeah.
meeting ended up being like the public information, why are we doing this?
That's a good question,
And
yeah.
like, oh, we were already doing it, and so I think we're all kind of prepared, like, we thought we were beyond the why.
Yeah,
I mean, we
yeah,
thought,
people do ask almost,
Yeah, well, and then
because they're
they,
not there.
right, and they, okay, well,
For the,
we're already like
Expo?
into it,
Yeah.
people are like, well, why are we doing it?